to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What's up, Forgers? Welcome to Season 2, Episode number 89 of HeroesForge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I need an echo machine there. As always...
Storm.
This podcast is brought to you by our outstanding supporters on patreon.com/HeroesForge. This is your show host, as always, Jeff Reynolds. And with the co-host of the show, Kristen Ashton, on vacation, I'm here with the guest host of the show, who is more awesome than McDonald's breakfast. It's Ryan Reeder, aka TBKzord from the Lords of the Storm podcast. What is up, TBK?
What is up, Jeff? I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be here, and I am super pumped to be compared to McDonald's breakfast because I do love McDonald's breakfast. It's the only thing I eat at McDonald's anymore, but man, I just like ham, egg, and cheese bagel. You can't go wrong. It's so good.
Dude, it is really good, McDonald's breakfast, but you are more awesome than that, and it is so awesome that you're here joining us on the show this week. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on here. I mean, we are honored to have you on the show again. I mean, last time you were on the show with us, it was eons ago. I mean, I think we were in episode like 12 back when we had you before.
Yeah. It was pre-BlizzCon.
That's
right.
right.
It's like a few months before BlizzCon, something like that, and we forged Ragnaros.
We did, even though before we knew Ragnaros.
Before we even knew.
And now we are here, so maybe whoever we're talking about tonight will be joining us in the Nexus at BlizzCon. Ooh. Who knows? We got some stuff that we need to talk about before we get rocking and rolling with the forging tonight. And the first thing is that we want to thank everyone that came out for our Call of Kel'Thuzad specialty stream. It was a blast. Kristen and I answered the call, so to speak, of Kel'Thuzad. We got to hand out a bunch of codes, and it was really fun. We really want to reach out and thank the Blizzard community teams for putting that event together. It was an absolute blast, and thanks you to everyone who came out and watched the stream. And TBK, how is your Kel'Thuzad going? Are you enjoying him in the Nexus? What are your thoughts?
I am enjoying him quite a bit. He's one of those hard to play but very rewarding to play when you do stuff right, and you gotta have a good team backing you up because he's squishy as all get out, but he's a ton of fun. Probably one of the most complex but super fun heroes they've released in a really long time.
Oh, absolutely. I think that he is so difficult to master, so difficult to get in there and be, really, really good. But I've played against some really good Kel'Thuzads out there, and if you're good at him, I mean, you can really get the lockdown down. You can get a ton of damage dished out on the enemy team, and his voice lines are pretty stellar too.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you fight a good KT, you know it. Mm-hmm. Like a good KT will make their presence felt, and it's just one of those chilling propositions whenever you fight a good KT.
The puns are already rolling in, and I love it.
Yes.
Oh man, some huge news dropped for the Nexus this weekend. Volskaya Foundry, TBK, and
oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I am the most excited about that Varian skin.
Yes. When they released a little teaser of it, I was like, Mech Varian? It wasn't quite that cool, but it's still pretty dang cool. I mean, it's Russian Varian, so I mean that's just a slight step down from Mech Varian.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it a second. Let's talk about the actual map, which are the control points on this map are going to play a lot like Overwatch does.
Yeah, this is Heroes of the Overwatch, event pretty much. I mean, we got the Overwatch map coming. We've got the new Overwatch heroes coming. We've got the Varian basically Overwatch skin coming as well. It looks really fun. The conveyor belts look really interesting. That sometimes will activate around certain control points. The two-man mech, the two-man driven mech. It's just like, if Cho'Gall wasn't enough, let's give everybody a map objective so you can all beat Cho'Gall. So that should be really, really interesting to try out.
I totally agree. I think the conveyor belts, strangely enough, are going to be one of the one of the coolest, additions to a map that we've seen. I think, having to position yourself and move around these conveyor belts and how that might help you. I mean, I'm imagining things where, you normally have to be standing still to channel something, but if you're standing still on a conveyor belt, it's going to move you around as well. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor is like medieval portals move on that thing. Anything that you place down, like that actually gets set down, moves while it's on that thing too. So that should allow for some really interesting interactions, I would think, between stuff as well.
Absolutely. And Ogre22 in the chat is saying, I wonder if Cho'Gall can mech himself and it'll count as 2, or if there'll have to be another person in there controlling the second part of the mech. I don't know. Have we heard anything about that?
From what I hear, Cho'Gall works the exact same as he does on current objectives, where the Cho will take the lead and pilot or gun whatever position he jumped into, and then Gall just can continue to use his abilities out of the mech.
Wow. So you've got a 3-person mech in that scenario.
That's what I hear, at least.
Wow.
So that could be kind of crazy. As far as like coordination and just a single point of damage coming out, that's potentially, I mean, you're losing another body, right? But potentially that's still pretty scary.
That is crazy. And what else is crazy is that these other characters, I mean, they've already told us the next 2 heroes that are coming to the Nexus as well. We've got Ana from Overwatch and Junkrat coming in. Ana will be able to be played on the PTR just this week.
Yes, I am super excited. And another support too. They're keeping their promise. They're rolling out more supports, and that makes me super happy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it hasn't been since BlizzCon that we've had a double hero drop.
Yeah, it's really inspiring, especially since what was on our show notes before this dropped was the fact that Blizzard was talking about possibly slowing down with hero releases and, kind of taking their foot off the gas pedal when it comes to that so everybody could really catch up. But it looks like now is not the time. They're going to keep dishing out these heroes up until BlizzCon, and who knows what they're going to show there.
So here's the speculation, right? This is a huge event. This is a map. This is 2 heroes. There's going to be this event surrounding it. There's a ton of new, like the big variant skin. That's going to be a huge deal. The Diva skin they dropped with this, the Deathwing Diva, just so incredible. Like new one-trick diva right here, just from skin. And so it makes you think, if this is this big, I can't imagine that BlizzCon is going to be any less than this. Because otherwise, why not hold this for BlizzCon, right?
Absolutely.
Because you want something big. You don't want a crappy BlizzCon.
No, you do not. And I don't think that they're planning on that. I think there's something even bigger is going to come, and who knows what that is. And speaking of BlizzCon, we're 46 days away.
That's so exciting.
That's right, 46 days. And if you're out there thinking, man, I'm going to BlizzCon too, make sure you stay tuned to the show and all of the shows on the Amove TV podcast and entertainment network over there. They're going to have a meetup that's going to happen the night before BlizzCon, and also Con Before the Storm will have some panels with people that you may or may not know, TBK, on these panels talking about some of your favorite games.
Could be pretty cool. If you're in Thursday night, Con Before the Storm is the place to be. They've got a massive art gallery set up from all these wonderful, amazing artists that do pieces for all the different games. There's going to be a panel on podcasting. There's going to be panels on WoW, Overwatch, Heroes, just a huge Hearthstone, a huge variety of Blizzard titles. And other stuff. They're really ramping things up this year, and I think they're going to be announcing a bunch of stuff soon, so be sure to stay tuned for that, because it's their biggest year yet, for sure.
Absolutely, yes, and I am there, and it is going to be so fun, man. So fun. All right, we need to get on at the forging here, but before we do, just a little announcement. Kristen will be returning to the show next Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be forging the Fallen Shaman from Diablo. But before we even get there, we have to find out who we're forging tonight. So before we do that, Let's forge.
Let's forge.
Man, TBK, when you sent me the list of heroes that you wanted to do, because whenever we have a guest on the show, and it's been a while since we've had a guest, we always let the guest pick whoever they want to forge, and your list was outstanding, dude.
It was a kind of comprehensive, wasn't it? There's it had several space goats on it because we don't have any Draenei in Heroes yet, and then this dude.
This dude, and who is
one of
this
my
dude?
favorite? He is Gruul, the Dragonkiller, the Dragon Slayer.
Gruul the Dragon Slayer from World of Warcraft is on the forging block this evening. This took me way back, and it took me not so far back as well. I mean, Gruul has been on the minds of Warcraft players a whole heck of a lot over the years. So TBK, why don't you give us a little intro on him and his place in the World of Warcraft universe?
I would love to, Jeff. Worshipped as a deity by the ogres of the Blade's Edge Mountains, great father to the Gronn, Gruul the Dragonkiller earned his name by slaying countless black dragon guardians and impaling them on spikes throughout his homeland. Gruul's unparalleled strength and experience in battle would pose a serious threat if he ever chose to attack the Horde or Alliance forces in Outland. So, a band of adventurers set forth to destroy him once and for all. This would be no easy task. Gruul may look like nothing but a cruel brute, but the truth is he possesses uncanny intelligence as well as strength. Once Gruul was defeated, the adventurers believed the Dragonkiller had finally been vanquished, only to find that in the alternate universe of Draenor, Gruul had been subjugated and served as a laborer for the Iron Horde. Adventurers are greeted with this chilling note when entering the Blackrock Foundry. Garrosh knew that the surest path to breaking the Gronn lay in subjugating their great father, Gruul. Known in another time as the Dragonkiller, here Gruul has been reduced to the role of menial laborer. In a cruel mockery of the Shattered Hand's warrior tradition, his hand has been replaced with a hook to enable him to more easily haul pallets of fuel to the furnace. Gruul is the worst kind of foe, not only intelligent, but also with unbelievable strength and smashing attacks that leave most that challenged him outmatched.
Dude, I need to play Dungeons and Dragons with you, because that was so good. Oh man, Gruul is a crazy, crazy character in the game. Huge toon in the game, right? The Gronn are these huge, bestial creatures that have massive models in the game. So bringing a character like this to Heroes of the Storm would definitely have an opposing silhouette.
Yeah. He's a big dude. He's a big, imposing dude.
Yeah, and I mean, he's present in 2 raids. He's a raid boss, and we know that they've had challenges in the past when it comes to challenging themselves, I should say, to create raid bosses for the Nexus, and they've done pretty darn good job bringing them in. So this would be an even bigger challenge on some respects on how to make this giant raid boss Gruul, who, you know, is smashing the scenery around and, you know, picking, you know, rocks up and throwing them and really, really crazy cool stuff. But how do they make that work in the Nexus?
We may have some ideas about that, Jeff.
We absolutely have some ideas about that, so let's get on to it. If this is your first time listening to HeroesForge, the way the show works is that we're each going to talk about a kit and what we think Gruul may look like if he was in the Nexus. Of course, this is all theory crafting and just a ton of fun. If you're in the chat, make sure you drop us some ideas and thoughts about what we're talking about, and also you can always find all of the kits and everything we've talked about on our website, which is heroesforge.club. Because you are the guest, TBK, you get to go first, and the first thing that we always talk about on the show is the role classification for this character if it was in the game.
Sure. So when you think Gruul, you think tank, bruiser stuff. So using our current classifications, he's going to be a warrior.
Nice.
for me.
So you're going with the warrior, and you brought up the bruiser aspect, so you're thinking he may be doing more damage than the normal warrior in the Nexus, or what are your thoughts on that?
So Gruul is not my concept is not a multi-class per se, but it is a versatile bruiser. So I would refer to him as an off tank / bruiser, and to kind of figure out which is which, he's gonna have high health, but he's not gonna have a ton of damage unless you talent into it. So depending on the way you want your talent tree to go, you can either have this high health, more damage type warrior, or you can have this high health, slightly just less damage but more crowd control type stuff. And when I say crowd control, I call him an off tank because I don't want him to be a main tank, or at least this kit is not a main tank. This is an off tank support type role where you can talent into different abilities that give his base abilities more CC of some sort, like extra slows, displacement, roots, what that type is, not hard CC, but kind of disruptive CC.
Dude, that is so cool. And that's exactly what I feel like Blizzard is doing with the heroes that are in the game now, is that the talent diversity is really, they're looking to always be enhancing talents so that there's a ton of talent diversity in the game. And I think heroes like this that are designed with that in mind are the ones that they're, they're the ones that Blizzard is really focused on, is how to make that happen for other heroes. Because, I mean, we've seen it in the past where you just pick up a character and you just straight up, I'm picking this and that and this and that as I just go through. Don't even have to think about it. But it sounds like with your build, you're really going to have to focus on what is needed in the battle, and that's exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly. I want you to be able to customize Gruul to focus on, okay, what is my team comp? What does my team need? Do they need some more damage, or do we need some more control of the environment, pretty much? And I really like kits like this because I'm not only thinking about ranked and unranked, because you can kind of pick and you can counter pick and stuff, and it still gives you flexibility within a draft. But I would venture to say that a large amount of the population, and probably the highest percentage of the population, plays quick match. Mm-hmm. And so having characters that are flexible to allow you to kind of adapt to your quick match setting is very powerful too.
Yeah, and that's powerful in the respect of it gets more people playing characters like this. It gets the knowledge ceiling of everyone that's playing against these characters to know what they possibly could take, getting people looking at the talent screen more. I mean, it's really, really great. Let's get on with it here. Let's talk about the trait. What is the trait for your warrior Gruul here?
So this is kind of a combo trait mount, right? Because this is Gruul, and we're going to be pushing the limits of acceptable character model sizes with this dude. Like we're going to be pretty much taking this dude after a certain point as big as the designers or heroes is comfortable with for a movable hero. Not necessarily Ragnaros, I'm gigantic, but I'm stuck on a fort or a keep or something.
Yeah.
Space. So Gruul has no mount. Instead, he slowly picks up speed as he walks, reaching a arbitrary percentage speed after a certain amount of time, right? We're not here to talk about numbers. We're just here to talk about cool stuff.
Yeah.
So once he's passed a certain speed threshold, let's say 50% of the max he can go, right? He now pushes aside units in his way, though he does no damage. So it's just very much a charge through things. You can't body block him at that point. Gruul's movement is not immediately stopped by damage like a normal mount, but his speed is decreased progressively down to normal as he takes enemy auto attacks, be they heroes or minions or whatever. So each auto attack would take off a certain percentage of the speed that he builds up over time. And so you can't just shoot him and then, oh no, my pony's gone. It's just like this is a hulking force that takes time to stop. And so this is in some ways even a soft initiation ability for him to be able to get into the fray.
Dude, I love what you did with this, because this is like a combination of, I mean, so we see Lucio with the wall ride and the ability to, you know, go around people and not get body blocked, but that's reliant on a wall, and that makes sense because he's on rollerblades, right? But this makes sense for Gruul. Basically, he's just plunging forward into the battle, pushing people out of the way, and I love that he can't get demounted. I mean, how would he get demounted? He's charging forward.
Freaking Gruul. Like, you can't stop the mountain.
Oh, so question about this. So you have to be at your full pace to be able to push people away?
50%.
Okay.
So as he walks, he will always slowly be building up a percentage of speed up to his max, which, you know, might be 30%, whatever your normal mount speed is, maybe a little faster, because it's a slow build up, not an insta. I have 30 or 40% mount speed, right? Once he hits that 50% mark, though, and this would be cool because, you know, like you mentioned Lucio, he's got the little skate indicator on his UI to show when your skate is still building up and in effect. You basically make the same sort of little indicator for Gruul. It builds up as he goes, so you can see what speed you're at, and then you start flashing, or you get the little bar there that shows once he's reached half, and now you know, okay, I'm pushing units aside. And then you see that slowly drop as auto attacks, be they heroes or mercs or minions or whatever, start hitting you. And so it's one of those things, like when he's chasing down a single hero, you're gonna have to be stutter stepping to try and slow him down, or he's going to catch up with you because he's Gruul. Yeah. Whereas you get him in a minion wave, or you get him by himself surrounded by minions, he's not going to be able to catch you because he's going to have things shooting him and hitting him.
Oh, totally. And I'm picturing like trying to capture an objective, right? Imagine you're charging into an objective that someone's trying to capture. Your whole team is hopefully behind you because they know that's where they should be. You come charging in, you push everybody out of the way as you come charging in, and then you're in the proper position to help heal, to get people off because you've been able to push through. And then who knows, maybe somebody ends up on the wrong side of you, and then GG.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that you'd have to tune for balance, right? This could easily be a just push away displacement. It doesn't interrupt things, but you could easily, if it felt right after testing and whatnot, since you have to be at least at 50% to even have that push, you could have it actually interrupt channels or whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I love it. What's your first basic ability to go along with that?
Okay, so his Q is Smash. Gruul will slam his fist in the ground, doing damage to all enemies in an area around him. So it's just kind of like brings us both fists up and just slams the ground. Think like Donkey Kong in Super Smash Brothers, where instead of like bongoing the ground, he's just going to do a big ol' boom, and just area of effect damage radiates out from him. It's his wave clear. And it's going to be one of those things you can talent into to add either damagey type extra things to it, or maybe a form of like slow or something as well. Oh,
yeah, it's totally Gruul, man. Okay, so question about this one. Is it a circle effect around him that does damage, the AoE, or is it just in front of him? Okay. So
it's a circle effect, so it's just like a big hit the ground and you see the shockwave kind of go out a little distance around it.
Yeah, man, it's straight from, I mean, the BC raid is just like that. I mean, I've watched a ton of videos over the last couple of days doing research on this, and that is so Gruul, just, you know, totally coming down and hulking and just smashing in. So what's your second basic ability?
So the second one, and speaking of BC too, that was my biggest memory of Gruul, was BC, and so that's you kind of hinted that's really what my kit is based off of, is Burning Crusade Gruul, because I rated the crap out of him, and the mage, the ogre mage, the ogres fight right beforehand, which was really cool.
Oh,
You had
yeah.
to have a warlock tank or a mage tank. It was a really cool fight. So his W is Boulder. Gruul will pick up from the ground and throw a large boulder to the target location, dealing damage in that area and knocking back targets that are hit a short distance, depending on the angle that they get hit. I mean, we've got a few like say Gul'dan's Fear. It's kind of like you get feared the angle away from the circle you drop. It's basically the same thing. You get knocked back away depending on the angle where the boulder hits, and it's just like an ovalish
Cool.
skill shot. So a little different, not just your plain. It's kind of like an oval skill shot.
Cool. So this is like the big daddy of Morales grenades.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Bigger, slower, more damage, and not reactivatable.
Right. New Moraleses out there are just chucking grenades all over the place. So this boulder, does it take a second for Gruul to kind of get this boulder up off the ground? Do you have to kind of time your boulder throw, or is it almost instant?
Most definitely. This would definitely be a one of the harder skill shots, because it's a boulder. You want it to be able to do some damage, and it also provides the knockback effect. But you have to time it as well, because it's not. It's a little slower than, say, a normal skill shot because it's a boulder, but at the same time, it's a lot bigger than the area of a normalish skill shot too. So you have a little leeway of where you can hit.
Dude, that's so cool. How do you imagine you can talent into this to make it different? Like, what are your thoughts of, like, are you going to make it like a flaming boulder or something different where it does AoE, burn or something at the end?
Sure. Like, so you could, if you wanted some more CC type thing, you could talent it into perhaps a bigger knockback when it hits. Or if you wanted some more damage, when the boulder hit the ground, it could break, doing AoE damage out from its initial impact point. So there's a lot of different things you could kind of throw into it too.
Oh yeah, man. That's totally the raid. I love it. That's totally the Burning Crusade raid. Okay, what's your third basic ability here?
Number 3, his E, we have Cave In. And this is where Gruul targets a rectangular area on the ground that will cave in for 5 seconds. Every second, boulders will spawn above enemies in the area up to a certain point, or a certain amount of boulders probably. But every second, boulders will spawn above enemies in the area, dropping a short time after, doing damage to anything caught in the radius of those falling rocks.
Oh, that's cool. So this rectangular area, you're giving the enemy heroes that are in this area time to get out.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a pretty big area, because all these will technically be dodgeable. So you'll throw, let's say you're in a lane, right? You throw this big rectangular area down over this portion of the lane. You see a shadow of the boulder under you that spawns under you, and then it falls.
Oh, yeah.
And does, or rocks, it's a cave in. And then it falls and does damage. The actual size of the falling rocks isn't going to be huge, but there will be a decent amount of them, and they drop every second. So unlike say Gul'dan's, what is it, Reign of Vengeance? Or not Reign of Vengeance.
Reign of Destruction, yeah.
Reign of Destruction. I'm thinking of Vala for some reason. It's a little like that, but not quite that area, but not quite that random either.
All right.
Because the cave-in will target people, but they will have time to react to the shadow before it falls.
Oh, that's
and it
cool.
can target heroes or minions, or basically anything that's in that area has a chance to have a boulder spawn over it and then drop.
Dude, I love what you're doing with this, because you have them running in set directions, and as the Gruul player, you've got your W ready to go, because you can see they're trying to run out of the cave in, and you've got this boulder shouldered right here, ready to throw wherever they're going to go and just smash them. And then, oh man, and then imagine before all that, you've charged in with your trait. I mean, that is so cool. All right, let's hear it. Let's hear the heroics. What's your first heroic here?
Okay, so his first heroic, we're going with the classic Growth. And this was a huge deal in the BC fight, because as the fight went on, Gruul got bigger, and more powerful. So this ult kind of plays into that. So, and this is why I was talking about his size right at the beginning of our forge, is because they will need to make him at a level where they're comfortable with him growing if he picks this ultimate. So the ult goes, Gruul increases in size, increasing health and damage dealt by a percentage, right? Gruul can increase in size up to 5 times.
Whoa.
Gruul will automatically increase in size every certain amount of seconds, but he will also increase in size when he kills enemy heroes. All size growth is lost on death. If you activate because this is just a passive heroic, right? If you activate growth, it will enrage Gruul, causing all basic attacks to cleave for a short time.
That's the thing, is that this enrage, right? I mean, Gruul, in all of the times that you encounter him, no matter what raid it is, there is an enrage moment on this boss, but you're trying to beat it. And so I was really curious how you're gonna put that in there, because it was a challenge for me as well, and this is really cool. Okay, so you're growing and growing and growing, so it signifies just size. So is this helping you with body blocking, with,
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. And so it's a double-edged sword, right? You're getting a little extra health when you grow. You're getting a little extra damage when you grow, but you're also making yourself a bigger target as well. And so you have to be really careful, especially like once you get full stacks, you may be able to body block like a champ, but you're going to be super easy to target and super easy to hit with skill shots as well. So you have to be, it comes with that downside, right? I also wanted to make this, mechanic work and not make you feel bad if you took this and were like behind, right? And so kind of true to his BC raid nature, when you kill the hero, or when you kill a hero, you can get a stack of growth, stack up to 5. It feels good. If you die, you lose them, right? But if you're on the losing side as Gruul, this might feel really bad to take if you guys aren't getting a lot of hero kills. So that's where this automatic growth comes on. So in the BC raid, Gruul would just increase in size every X amount of seconds and get bigger and tougher and harder. So I kind of built that into this. And so this will allow you to actually make use of this heroic besides just the cleave aspect over time. Even if you're not getting the kills, you can still get stronger, maybe slower than if you were getting kills, but you can still get stronger and make good use of this heroic rather than just, I guess I need a cleave.
Yeah.
Not getting any kills, I'm kind of behind. This can actually help from behind because it will passively over time make you stronger as long as you're smart and can stay alive.
Well, yeah, that's the talent diversity piece there too. I mean, you're allowing people to select this heroic even if they're behind, which is really, really cool. And it's like we said before. I said it before, I'll say it again. It is totally Gruul. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with how it felt in the raid. Just, if you're going to take him out, you really got to do it. And you're basically feeding him, literally feeding him more and more the more that you guys die. So if you're going to go into this fight with Gruul, you better be ready to take him out to reset it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like about it too. It's got that reset feature. You got a heavy Gruul. Yeah, he's tough, but if you take him down, he's going to come back and he's not going to be as strong again. You reset the raid basically, and you wiped it. You're starting fresh. It's a new lockout. You're good.
That's totally cool. It's Tuesday at 11:30 in the morning.
That's right. That's right.
You're good to go. What's your second heroic to go along with that one?
So my second heroic is called Shatter. And Gruul targets a large area and puts down a slowing field for 4 seconds that slows enemy heroes by 20%. So just picture circle, right? Just a shape, big area, slows people. But the slow will stack slowly while enemies remain in the area. If an enemy is still in the area and has retained the slow effect for at least 2 seconds, when that slow area expires, they will turn to stone, becoming stunned for 1.5 seconds.
Nice.
And then once you have this down, Gruul can choose to reactivate Shatter during its duration. And when you reactivate it, it will remove the slow and make them immune to any continual slow. It just removes the slow and deals damage based on how high that slow was built up to.
This is quintessential right here to any time you face Gruul in the game. This whole shatter and the, turning to stone aspect. I mean, that has to be in any kit that Gruul's involved in. And this is a really unique way to implement this. So you're staying in this field if you decide to stay, or if you're stunned. I mean, let's say you're playing with the Kel'Thuzad or somebody's in there and they're stunning you and freezing you and chaining you. I mean, the combo wombos here are endless.
Yeah, and so that's why you want to have this field last for 4 or 5 seconds. You've got to give people the opportunity to get out of it, right? And so this is probably the most like balancing act heroic that I've got, just because you'd want to tune this just right. But my general thinking is you've got this slowdown, so people it's only 20% slow, so it's not the end of the world. Right.
Yeah.
You want to throw this down. You want to make people want to get out. This is the scary thing. This is the raid thing where you're running away. And so I wanted to kind of give it on two fronts. One, to give people a chance to get away, but two, for the Gruul player to be able to think about it strategically. So if your team is on point and you're doing stuff and you're keeping people in that field, then obviously you're going to want to get the stun out of that, right? It's Gruul's only hard CC he's going to have, and it's on his ultimate. And it's only a chance, right? You only get the potential to stun people. And so you have to kind of keep your eye on that. But otherwise, it's just a 20% slow. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. There's my 120 second heroic gone down the toilet. So you have a choice now. You need to read the battle, read what's going on as the people are in, and judge, okay, are these people going to be still in the shatter zone when it ends so that they get petrified, or look like everybody's getting out? Okay, I can reactivate shatter, go ahead and do some damage and get something out of it if it doesn't look like we're going to be able to keep anybody in here and keep them stone. Or even strategically, okay, people are starting to run out. I want to wait as long as I can to activate that shatter and do the damage, but not let people get out of the field first.
Oh, totally. Dude, I'll tell you what, when this becomes a thing in the game, I'll draft an Entomb Leoric with you, and we'll just go and rock and roll and just shatter all the enemy team.
Yeah, that would be super, super fun. Like I could just see it, like the dream, of course, is you womboing enough to catch the whole team in, and then boom, there's 5 stone heroes.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the art on that would be, but I guess you would just have to freeze the hero animation in place and like make them gray or something. I don't know how much work that would actually be, if you'd have to do that with each individual hero, or if it'd be easy just to apply here, make that hero gray, or something like that. Or even if it just like froze them in place and you got a little like thing above your head that says, hey, I'm stone right now, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm imagining that it even looks like an ice block, but instead of clear ice crystal that you can see through, it's a little stone that looks like an ice block, so you can't see through it, but you would have to know who was in that block.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something like that for sure.
I mean, there's a ton of cool stuff. This kit is really cool, and it really speaks raid. I mean, it's like you were saying, that whole raid mechanic of feeling like you got to run out of things, and you're watching this boss shoulder a boulder that's going to throw it at you, and you've got the time to get out. But as we all know, it gets hectic in there, where you're saying, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I've got to dodge so many things with this Gruul that if the Gruul player is on point, they're leading you. They know exactly where you're going. They're throwing these heroics down, and they're pushing you in certain directions, and that all says tank to me too. So this is, I mean, bravo, man, this is really good.
Yeah, and my whole idea is, if you want the extra damage, it's there, that's awesome, but my thinking would be your highest level of skill players will be taking the extra effects for the attacks and directing the flow of battle in a way, and that's what I wanted to capture in the feel of this, is just the whole this is a raid boss, you are now in a raid, and directing the flow of battle, and just being a raid boss.
Yeah, man, and just plowing through the enemy team as you charge forward. I mean, it is so cool. Bravo, man. Great kit. Okay, before we get on to my kit here, we have some people that we need to thank. As always, first and foremost, we need to thank all of our awesome patrons that help to support the show week after week. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you too would like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/HeroesForge, and on that site you can check out all of the different ways that you can help support us and keep this show going week after week. And also, we want to thank everyone that's given us a 5-star review on iTunes. Rock stars out there. Thank you so much. If you like this show and you listen to it on iTunes, it really helps the show grow if you drop us a 5-star review, and make sure you leave us a note, because we'll give you a shout out right here on the show at this point, thanking you personally for giving us that rating. Also, thank you to everyone that hangs out in the Twitch chat. As always, great ideas coming back and forth. You guys are rock stars too, as you know. All right, let's get into the second kit here. And so, TBK, you went the route of the Burning Crusade raid. And so my memories of Gruul are actually, I remember the Burning Crusade raid, but I played it more in the beginning of the whole Warlords of Draenor when he was introduced in there. So I went the Warlords of Draenor route.
I like it. I was when I saw your build, I was super excited because we hit basically both the aspects of Gruul that people would know.
Yeah, and that's an important thing to remember about lots of these characters, especially in Warcraft, with these alternate universes and where everybody can go and what everybody can do. There are millions of kit possibilities out there, and it just takes, just a creative thought to get one rocking and rolling. And my creative thought was this trait called DPS check. So for those of you that don't play World of Warcraft or any MMORPG, there's these things that are dubbed by the community called DPS checks, which are these bosses that they put inside of these raids that see if your group has enough damage to do the raid. Basically, you have to be able to take this boss out before it enrages and just goes crazy and, murders everyone on your team, and you find out, well, we got to kick the low DPS player. So I wanted to implement that into Gruul, because I'm going like TBK did with the raid boss feel. So it's commonly said that in the Blackrock Foundry raid, Gruul is the DPS check. So your group might not have enough DPS to defeat him, and then the entire raid just wouldn't work out. So in the Nexus, I wanted to represent this in some way. So this trait is what I came up with. With this trait, Gruul, when he's below 15% health, he'll take 50% less damage. This can be talented into later in the game to allow Gruul to deal extra damage to enemies while he's below 15% health as well. But the main thing you're going for here is that your abilities, auto attacks, everything are only doing 50% damage when he's 15% health or lower.
I like it. This is a really unique way of capturing, like you said, the enrage process, which is just part of what Gruul is, what a raid boss is. So it's kind of like almost like a little bit of a Garrosh trait, but it all comes at once at one point.
And maybe I've been playing Garrosh a whole heck of a lot. I mean, I really, I don't know about you. This is a side note though, but I really feel like Garrosh is, at least the way I play him, is super utility. Like, I feel like his health and everything and the amount of damage he does is just pathetic. So I'm thinking, like, if you can really land those pulls and tosses and the utility of that, you can really do some serious damage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Garrosh is very much a capitalization warrior, where your team, you have the ability to set up the plays. You're the playmaker. Your team just has to follow up on your awesomeness.
Absolutely. So with that trait, his mounting ability, I say he doesn't ride a mount because he's going to be massive, just like in TBK's build. But instead of mounting, so like a custom animation for this is the Gruul from Warlords of Draenor actually has a hook for his left hand instead of a hand. So I imagine that he would kind of reach forward and, you know, as he's moving faster, he'd be using that hook to pull himself faster along the battlefield while he's quote unquote mounted.
Yeah, no, that's, and there's stuff like this already in the game, right? We have the Diablo running type animation, so there's no reason we couldn't have a sweet Gruul just running and hooking the ground, pulling himself forward, and just looking super scary.
Yeah, and it would be scary. Not as scary as yours, where he's plowing through, but it'd still be kind of cool. So
he's got a hook.
That's true.
I mean, hooks are scary, right?
Coming up on Halloween, a hook for a hand.
That's
and
right.
He's not a pirate.
You know that's trouble.
Especially when you're not a pirate. Let's get on to basic abilities here. This first one is straight out of that raid called Infernal Slice, and I had to do some work to kind of make it a MOBA feel. So with this basic ability, when it's activated, Gruul slashes forward with a cleaving attack from his hook that deals damage to all enemies in a cone in front of him. So something we've seen before. All enemies that are hit with this will receive a debuff called Infernal Strike. When they will take increased damage from this Infernal Slice while this debuff is activated. So the increased damage debuff doesn't stack with a larger percentage of damage if they're hit with Infernal Slice again, but it does increase the amount of time that debuff is on you. So if you continue to take Infernal Slice hits, you're going to be taking increased damage, but the damage never gets bigger. You just have this debuff on you that gives you increased damage from the ability.
Okay, so do you picture this as like a pretty low cooldown ability then? Okay.
Yeah, so low cooldown, you're in there, you're throwing an Infernal Slice out. If you get debuffed from it, this is where I'm kind of thinking that he's going to be able to help peel and move people around, because people are going to say, I can't take another hit of Infernal Slice right now, because if I do, I'm going to take more damage. So they're going to kind of peel off and go in a different direction, hopefully, maybe not. If not, then you're going to hit them again. There'll be debuffs again, so they'll just continue to take increased damage from it.
Yeah, I like it. It's like almost the tank swap ability from a raid, right?
Right.
Is you're tanking a dude in a raid, you take a certain attack, crap, taunt, bro, taunt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you start getting hit really hard.
Absolutely, and that is exactly what I was going for. I'm so glad that you picked up on that. Chad is asking if I think he has a slow or fast attack speed, auto attack speed. I'm going to say faster, because I'm so annoyed with these heroes that I play that have super slow, like Stukov and Garrosh. I'm just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, which is the opposite of mine as well, because I picture mine being the heavier, just more Stukov like, bam, just slow, hard hitting auto attack.
Yeah, so
I like that. This is the Draenor Gruul is like he's on adrenaline. He's got going crazy.
He's hyped.
He's tired of being a menial laborer.
That's I love that description. Menial laborer for with the hook, just to pull on some carts faster until the enemy comes around. So the second basic ability is called Petrifying Slam, and this is, I mean, like I said before, you got to include something like this in a Gruul build. So Gruul selects an enemy hero and slams them. So picks them up, slams them to the ground, knocking them back and beginning the process of petrification. Petrification takes a short amount of time, but once petrified, the player will turn to stone and be stuck in place for a short amount of time. Heroes can be released from this petrification once they are attacked by a friendly hero, or if the timer runs out. So this is another type of bone prison from Xul, right? So you have to be close to Gruul for this to happen. He picks you up, slams you down, you kind of roll in a certain direction that he selects. Once you roll, you've got a few seconds to either go unstoppable or whatever it is you can try to do to get out of this stun, basically, or you're going to get stunned, and someone can get you out of that stun faster if they attack you.
Okay, so it is a stun.
Yes.
It's not just like a root like Bone Prison. It's actually a stun, but kind of a stun that you know is coming.
Right, exactly. So you can kind of, cleanse your way out of it if you're one of the 2 heroes that has cleanse in the game anymore. All that stuff. I mean, so basically it combos with this third basic ability, which is called Shatter, just like in yours. So Gruul lets out a scream that shatters or explodes all petrified players and deals AoE damage to other heroes in the area. So the combo here is you pick somebody up, you throw them. This would also be on a low cooldown. I imagine that you're using abilities a lot as Gruul. You're picking them up, throwing them. They get, they start running away, so they get petrified. As soon as they do, you've already picked somebody else up. You're throwing them. You're rocking and rolling, and then you throw down the Shatter, and they blow up. And, it's basically an Aerial Crystal. Less damage than that, of course, because it's not on a heroic level, but it plays like that.
Okay, so when you shatter, the AoE damage emanates from the petrified players, not from you.
No, from them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so they're blowing up all over the place. If they've run into the wrong place, it's that living bomb syndrome. Get away from me, get away from me, get away from me.
Yep. Except it's get away from me, but then don't be too far away because I'm stunned too.
And the thing about that is the balance when you're on the enemy team is, let's say that I would think you would not want to draft a lot of melee heroes with Gruul on the enemy team, because the only way you can get out of being petrified faster is to be attacked, right? So if the melee heroes on your team are running to you to attack you to get you out of this, but they come too late, then he's just going to shatter and you're going to take AoE damage from that explosion.
Yep, for sure. No, that's cool. I like it.
So now we're on to some heroics here. This first one is called Destructive Rampage. So when this is activated, Gruul begins to smash the ground quickly a total of 5 times. So unlike yours, he's like bam, 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 bam 5 times. So these smashes deal damage to all enemy players in a circle around Gruul, and it also pushes them back away from him. Wherever they are in that circle, they get pushed back away, and the circle would be roughly the size of a Diva bunny hop. So it's not huge. It's not like a Phoenix or even a Rain of Destruction, like these massive circles that we see. This is one that is smaller, but it pushes them back. And I was particularly thinking of Volskaya on this, because if you get pushed out of that zone, it's like another zoning technique.
Okay, yeah. This is just a very, very much a I'm gonna clear some space, guys. Type move. And there's not much they can do about it other than hit him with ranged while he's doing it.
Yep, absolutely. And then I see this comboing with heroics like Earthquake, or, something where as soon as you push them out of the area, you drop an Earthquake and it slows them to get back into where they would need to be. If they're smart, maybe they just turn around and disengage altogether, but maybe they're trying to stop that mech. I mean, it's just a push and pull kind of situation with that guy.
Yeah, sure.
And
that's cool.
And then the second heroic is called Puny God. With Puny God,
I wonder where this reference came from.
Well, it works just like what you're thinking. So Gruul picks up a target enemy hero in range and smashes them on the ground back and forth, a total of 4 smashes, dealing damage with each smash. So you can't get out of this. This is just bam, 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 bam. At the end of the 4th smash, the target enemy hero is released, but will be petrified after a short amount of time. So if you happen to survive the smashes, you've also got this petrifying slam and shatter combo coming right at you afterwards.
Woo! That is rough. It sounds, the visual for it is awesome. Just grabbing a hero, like, I just figure, let's say, it's like, oh, hello, Uther. Grabs him by one leg and just bam, 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 bam. And then the last smash, he just kind of rolls a little bit or just like bounces a little bit. And then it's just like, oh, crap. Help me, allies. And then you just shatter him.
And he blows up.
Deal AoE damage to all the allies that were coming to help him.
Yeah, maybe it's a little OP, but man, it would be fun. And I'm also thinking that with these 4 smashes, it would also alternate. So left, right, and if you picked them up, it would drop them on the opposite side of the side that you picked them up. So you could also use it to kind of displace people, or maybe that's something you talent into, so it's not super OP at the beginning.
No, that's cool. I like that variation. That gives anything that gives abilities or even talents that give you a little more to think about or more to adjust with is really cool, I think.
Yeah, and I think it goes a long way saying what you said earlier about his tune being so big, and with your whole great idea about the growth and stuff. If you took this heroic, you might be in trouble because you have to stand in one place to smash them. You can't move. Yeah. So you're a huge walking target as you're doing this ability, and maybe you get stunned out of it, or maybe something happens where you can, I don't think you'd be unstoppable during this, but maybe that's a talent you take. They'd have to tweak it and balance it, but I just love the visual of it.
What about Destructive Rampage? Do you think do you foresee like unstoppable with that, or is that just a?
I think that one you're unstoppable. I mean, that feels like a raid. Yeah, that feels like a raid move where you just smash the ground. Unless you get taken out, you're unstoppable for that one.
Gotcha. I like it.
So basically, I mean, it's the same character with some of the same ideas, but from a different time period and a different feel. And it's so cool that we're able to create 2 different warrior Gruuls here, but with 2 different feels to it because of the places they come from in Warcraft.
Yeah, that worked out really well. I'm excited. It's some fun kits.
Oh man, so good. And your kit is fantastic. But before we can call these heroes forged, we got to talk about the best part here. We got to talk about specialty skins and dance moves. So I'm going to start it out with a specialty skin here. I got 2 ideas. My first one, of course, is Space Hulk Gruul. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So this is the 40K.
That's right.
Type. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I love it. Yep. I love it.
The 40K type, just massive, massive. And then the other one is a Mr. Hyde Gruul, and I'm thinking of this from the world's most fantastic film, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Also the film that Sean Connery retired on.
Did he?
Yes. If I'm remembering right, I think it was his last film he ever did. So, went out with a bang on that one.
No pun intended. If you haven't seen that film, don't.
If you want to have one of those silly movie nights where you get an entire bottle of sparkling grape juice and you have to drink the whole thing during the movie, and you feel horrible afterwards, but it's only partially from the sparkling grape juice whole bottle that you drank. It's partially from the movie too. That's a good night for one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anything, you could look up a picture of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde model from that game, and it would fit the silhouette of a Gruul, and it would look perfectly. Cool. Yeah, it would look really. What's your skin ideas?
Okay, so I am an unabashed lover of all things robots and mech. So we have Mecha Gruul. We have, laser defense grid. We have, missiles instead of boulders. We have just robots everywhere. Little, a barrage of missiles for his cave-in. Just,
dude, yeah.
Cool stuff. You get bigger robot. You could even have some really cool animations where it every time you got a growth stack, it added a little attachment to his arm or something like that.
Yeah.
Just there's so many cool things you can do with robots.
Maybe you go full on Iron Man status, where as he's growing, pieces of his robotic body are flying in and attaching themselves to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. And that would mean I would pick the growth heroic 100% of the time, because that's just too cool not to have.
Yeah, auto pick, man. Auto pick.
So Shatter would have to look really cool, I guess. But no, that's I like it.
Yeah, that's great. So what is your dance move with that?
Oh my gosh. I linked you a video right before we started recording, but it's a rock and roll dance So just playing off the pun game, rocking and rolling. So you'd see Gruul just be like shaking and grooving back and forth and twisting around. I just saw the video and I died. I was like, that's it. That is exactly the thing that Heroes animators would just love to do.
Oh yeah, the sillier the better, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for dance moves.
Yeah, and to see this massive hulking, boss out there doing this rock and roll dance, which I'm gonna link in our show notes. You can check them out on our website, so you can watch this dance. I mean, there's no bottle of grape sparkling juice that needs to go with that. It's pretty funny on its own.
It's crazy enough on its own.
Yeah.
Crazy enough on its own.
My dance move is, I'm calling it the jump hook. So Gruul will grab his hook with his offhand, and he's able to jump rope with the hook with his arms because his arms are so long. So he's basically just jumping over his arms and going in full circles.
Oh, I love it.
I'm telling you, just crazy stuff, man. We got two really awesome builds here, and with all of that, we can say that this hero was forged.
Hero Forged.
Oh, chat is saying a Protoss Colossus skin would be so cool. Oh, that is such a great idea.
Gentleman Scholar Zool. Or Zool. I don't know. I said Zool. Gentleman Scholar Gruul, because they rhyme probably. Like with a big old top hat and monocle.
Oh yeah, just one monocle.
Just one monocle.
Got one eye. I love it.
Yeah, just the just the one. Yeah, one monocle right in the middle of his eye. Oh, that would be so good.
Why not wear glasses, dude? Just wear a monocle. You only got one eye, so that's all.
That's right.
Man, summing up these builds is so hard because they're so in depth and they're so awesome with TBK's Burning Crusade raid feel here. This off tank damage bruiser with high health, just a one that runs in with this trait and this mount, pushing people away, smashing the ground, picking up these boulders and throwing them at that heroes that are running away from this cave in that's just coming straight from the ceiling down on top of them. And then on top of that, the growing heroic and the shatter heroic. And man, that NECA skin with, basically Veronica Iron Man stuff flying in and attaching would just be so
No, that's
cool.
That's the best idea. I want it so much now. Even if it's not on him, I want them to make a robot skin now, and I want things to fly in as they level up or something.
Yes, but not before Janitor Leoric, Blizzard.
Yeah. Janitor Leoric, guys. Come on. It's about time.
It's about time. On my kit over here, more towards the Warlords of Draenor feel over here with this DPS check trait where you just get stronger, more health as you get lower, you take less damage, slicing them up with Inferno Slice, Petrifying Slam, just like in TBK's second heroic there, locking people down, turning them to stone like Gruul does, and then of course Puny God, a little callback to Avengers there, smashing them back and forth. I mean, these kits are awesome, TBK, and this was a total blast, man.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I love doing these. They're so much fun.
Yeah, it's so cool, and this is another thing that I say all the time, but just the Heroes community out there, to be able to have these shows and these content creators and the listeners and everything, basically just a big shared content pool where we all just get together and help each other out and do cool stuff like this is just really awesome. So thank you to everyone that's listening to the show that maybe has never listened to it before because you're a Lords of the Storm listener and you're coming on over. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to have more Zords on more often.
Ooh, I like that. It's fun.
Always, man, always. All right, where can people find you, TBK, on the interwebs when you're not doing Lords of the Storm and all that fun stuff?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKzord. You can find me on twitch.tv/TBKzord. I usually try and stream once or twice a week, usually Mondays for sure, and then whenever else I get time away from gaming and family stuff. So, but I like to try and stream a little bit, but it's been a lot of fun, and like you said, I'm just kind of waiting for BlizzCon now because there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. The Con Before the Storm panels and whatever other exciting Heroes announcements there are going to be.
Totally. And make sure that you listen to Lords of the Storm, one of my favorite podcasts about heroes. I listen to it all the time. They cover the esports aspects. They cover kits and builds for the new heroes that are coming out. They cover all of the news that they talk about. And the whole time, it's a blast. It's a ton of fun, and it's Zords of fun. It's very, very, very fun.
I appreciate you, Jeff.
So if you're looking for
HeroesForge is awesome. Yeah. It's my creative show. It really is. Like, there's a few really good Heroes podcasts out there, and I try and listen to just about all of them, at least in some way, shape, or form, because I have really long commutes. So podcasts are awesome, but HeroesForge is so good because it's just very different from all the other ones, and it's just a full-on creative aspect, which really always gets my brain going with cool ideas.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Well, you've got some really cool ideas, and you're building kits even when you're not on this show. You're building kits on your show. You're building them for your blog. Where can people find those things that you're dropping all over the interwebs?
Heroes Hearth is where I've kind of landed. Heroes Hearth, TBKzord, and they've got a lot of really cool tools over there for like tier lists, and it's like a Heroes social media site, but they've also got some really cool tools for builds and then concepts, which I think only Heroes Fire has really had a concept area until then. It's super easy to use, and so I just finished and posted my Ysera concept a few days ago, because I've been working on that one for a little while.
And I read through it right before the show and immediately retweeted it. So if you're following us on Twitter at Forge Heroes, you can get a direct link to TBK's Ysera build over there. And it's stellar. It's very, very, very cool. If you're looking for me, you can find me right here on HeroesForge. We record the show live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV, because we are so honored to be part of the Amove TV podcasting and entertainment network. For more great esports and video game podcasts, make sure you check out amove.tv. You can find our website, which is heroesforge.club. You can also send us an email for anything that you'd like to see on the show. If you've got a kit, just hanging out in Microsoft Word over there, and you're thinking, man, I really want to send this in, million ways you can get it to us. The first one is you can send us a direct email, which is contactheroesforge@gmail.com. On our website, there's a contact tab, or you can tweet it to us. Again, our Twitter handle is @ForgeHeroes. Thank you so much to everyone that supports the show on patreon.com/HeroesForge. Thank you to everyone that's given us a 5-star review on iTunes. Again, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. Kristen will be returning next Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and you can join us for another forging of her beloved Diablo characters. I can't wait to talk about that as well. TBK, any final thoughts on Gruul before we call this show?
He's awesome. Blizzard, you should put him in game and use one of our kits.
So you are 100% for picking heroes that you're forging on our show that are in the game right now. Ragnaros, you're 1 for 1. So let's see if we can go 2 for 2 and throw a Gruul in here too, man.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I don't know if he's going to come before the end of the year, but I could definitely see him coming sometime next year. He's a very well-known character, a very well-known raid boss, big in the Warcraft area. He has a lot of really cool potential, as we've shown. So I would love to see something for him in game.
Totally, absolutely, and it would be a very unique model in the game, a very unique play style. It would just be a ton of fun. All right, we're going to call the show there. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you all in the real world.